10,000 years ago, the night did not feel peaceful. It felt alive. Not with comfort, not with silence, but with breathing. Somewhere beyond the edge of the firelight, something was moving. A branch bends. Leaves shift. Then stillness again? A small group of humans sits tightly together, backs pressed against stone, eyes fixed into the darkness, trying to see what the darkness is hiding. They do not know if they will survive until morning. And the most terrifying part is that this was not unusual. This was life. Most people imagine ancient humans as fearless hunters, powerful, primitive, dominant. That is not what they were. For most of human history, humans were prey. Weak teeth, thin skin, no claws, no venom, no armor. A single injury could become a death sentence. A broken ankle meant starvation. One infected cut could end an entire bloodline. And unlike modern fear, which usually exists inside the imagination, their fear was real, constantly real. Every sound in the forest carried consequence because something was always watching. The ancient world was not empty wilderness. It was a system of predators. Giant cats moved silently through tall grass. Hyenas could crush bone with a single bite. Massive snakes disappeared into darkness so completely they looked like shadows themselves. And humans. Humans slept on the ground. Researchers studying early human settlements noticed something strange. Ancient campsites were often positioned in locations that made survival psychologically easier, not physically comfortable. Near cliffs, inside narrow caves, against rock walls, places that reduced the number of directions danger could approach from. That detail matters, because it reveals something unsettling. Early humans were not trying to dominate nature. They were trying to survive the anxiety of being hunted by it. Even the human brain itself still carries evidence of this terror. Your fear of the dark, your instinct to notice movement in your peripheral vision, the sudden alertness you feel when hearing footsteps behind you at night. These are not irrational flaws. They are ancient survival systems, millions of years old. Long before cities existed, the humans who ignored strange sounds and darkness usually disappeared from the gene pool entirely. The nervous system learned quickly. Assume danger first, ask questions later. And evolution rewarded paranoia. But something even stranger happened. Fear did not merely help humans survive. Fear reshaped the human mind itself. Scientists studying the development of early social behavior believe constant danger may have accelerated human cooperation in ways no other force could. Because alone, humans were catastrophically vulnerable. A single human could be killed easily, but a group could stay awake in shifts. A group could maintain fire. A group could warn others before danger arrived. Fear forced humans together. In a way, civilization may have begun as a defense mechanism. And fire changed everything, not because it made humans comfortable, but because it pushed back the dark. For hundreds of thousands of years, night belonged to predators. Then, suddenly, small groups of fragile primates learned how to create artificial sunlight. Imagine what that must have felt like, to hold a burning branch while hearing animals retreat into the distance. For the first time in evolutionary history, the darkness itself became negotiable. Researchers analyzing predator behavior noticed many animals instinctively avoid uncontrolled fire even today. Ancient humans discovered something extraordinary. Terror could be manipulated, not eliminated, manipulated. But survival demanded more than fire. It demanded imagination. Most people think intelligence evolved because humans wanted knowledge. That is probably not true. Intelligence evolved because reality was lethal. The humans who could predict danger survived longer. The humans who understood patterns in weather, animal movement, seasons, and sound gained tiny advantages that compounded over generations. A snapped twig meant something. Birds suddenly going silent meant something. The smell of decay meant something. Ancient humans became experts at detecting hidden threats because the environment punished ignorance instantly. Your brain today still operates this way. It constantly searches for patterns even when none exist. Faces in darkness, shapes in clouds, meaning in coincidence. The modern human mind is still haunted by ancient survival logic. And then came something even more terrifying than predators: other humans. Evidence from prehistoric remains suggests early human groups often lived under threat not only from nature, but from each other. Competition for territory, food, water, shelter. Violence existed long before recorded history. And unlike predators, humans could plan. They could return. They could remember. They could hate. This changed fear permanently because nature kills without intention. Humans do not. Researchers studying trauma have discovered something disturbing. The human brain remembers social threats more intensely than many physical ones. Humiliation, rejection, exclusion. To the ancient brain, being abandoned by the tribe often meant death, which means modern social anxiety may not be irrational either. Some part of the nervous system still believes isolation is fatal, because for most of history, it was. But perhaps the most horrifying part of ancient life was uncertainty, not knowing when danger would arrive, not knowing what caused disease or storms or death itself. Imagine watching someone suddenly become sick with no explanation. One day they speak normally, the next day they cannot stand. Then they die. No medicine, no understanding, no answers, only mystery, and the human brain hates mystery. So humans began creating stories, spirits, gods, curses, rituals. Most people assume ancient belief systems emerged from ignorance, but that misses something deeper. Belief gave terror structure, and structured fear is easier to survive than chaos. The ancient human mind lived inside a universe that felt conscious. The wind meant something, thunder meant something, dreams meant something, because randomness is psychologically unbearable when survival is fragile. Even today, during uncertainty, humans search desperately for meaning, patterns, predictions, explanations. The ancient world never truly disappeared. It simply evolved into modern form. And yet, despite all of this, humans survived. Not the strongest humans, not the fastest, the most adaptable. A frightened species slowly learned to transform fear into intelligence, intelligence into cooperation, and cooperation into civilization. Every city on Earth began with terrified humans sitting beside a fire, listening carefully to darkness. That is where humanity truly started. Not in confidence, not in power, but in vulnerability. And maybe that explains something uncomfortable about modern life. Even now, surrounded by walls, lights, technology, and locked doors, the human nervous system still behaves as if predators are nearby. Because evolution moves slowly, the body remembers things civilization forgot, which is why silence can still feel unsettling, why darkness still changes human behavior, why anxiety appears without explanation, why the mind keeps scanning for danger even in safety. Your brain was not built for peace. It was built to survive. And perhaps the strangest realization of all is that ancient humans never defeated fear. Fear became human civilization. Every tool, every shelter, every weapon, every religion, every community, every city skyline glowing against the night. All of it traces back to one fragile creature trying desperately not to die in the dark, which means somewhere beneath modern society, beneath the concrete, the glass, the algorithms, the noise, the ancient world is still alive, still watching, still listening, still waiting beside the fire.